Today in studio, we have Andrew Brewer with Reliant Realty.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. And we have Marla Baggett from Keller Williams Realty. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a fun time out here in Nashville right now because, the market is just insanely hot. And
Sure.
It's just
Very busy.
Very, very busy. You guys see it firsthand being in the market, talking to buyers and sellers, and just the days on market. Do you guys have the current days on market? It continues to just drop and deteriorate down to nothing. There's more people relocating to Nashville. I don't have a number for it, but it just seems like, well, actually I do have a number. I remember reading an article on LinkedIn. I think it was tied to some U.S. Census data that there's an average of 80 people a day moving to Nashville.
Yeah, I believe that as well. I do too, and traffic also shows.
It reflects it big time. Yeah, and Nashville is just shy of Boston's population. Another number from the U.S. Census Bureau, Nashville is now the 25th largest city in the nation, and since 2010, it has surpassed Baltimore in population. Let's set the stage for a first-time home buyer and what they can expect when they meet with you guys to go through the real estate process. What's the first thing that you guys are talking to them about?
Well, we always like to sit down with our clients ahead of time before we even start looking and just kind of go over the buying process, get them in touch with the lender so they can get started with a pre-approval so we know what to look at with them when we do get started looking.
Let's stop right there. What the pre-approval piece? What just dive into that a little bit. What are you looking for in a pre-approval?
We really want our clients to get in touch with a lender we know and trust, to just kind of make sure that they are qualified to buy the house that they want to, or to readjust that, like you said, just kind of managing expectations.
Right.
How much of a house can they afford? What would they be comfortable with as a payment? Sometimes, you might find out, I can afford a $300,000 home, but maybe that payment isn't very comfortable for you and what you like to spend money on. So talking to a lender can get them kind of
in the right price range.
Set in the right price range, and make sure that they have the credit and
make sure there's no repairs needed to be, you need to do with your credit score, or, some sort of goals you need to work towards to be pre-approved.
And now that you have a pre-approval, what would be the next stage that a client would go through with you guys as a real estate agent?
Well, you're going to typically find out their needs, do a little fact finding. Once you know that their pre-approval is in place, you would set up a search and start, looking into potential homes, and, probably show them a few. I really hone in on my buyers once I've actually went in a house with them and looked around and see, their thoughts, how they take it, different styles of homes. Everybody hates ranches, but then they, realize ranches are in their price range, and some of them are really nice. My house is a ranch.
My house is a ranch too.
Yeah, and I love it. But so those are things you have to really get out with people to discover.
So let's say let me just play as a first-time home buyer. What would be, let's say we found this house that I love. What would be the next step? So now we're going to make an offer. I pre-approved already. So is the offer the next step, or what do we do?
Yeah, we would sit down and write up an offer. I know Andrew and I both use e-signing systems now, so we can even do that. If you want to go home and think about it, we could do it over the phone, or we could meet back up and do it. It's just all up to the client and their comfort level. Usually, especially with first-time home buyers, we definitely want to sit down and really go through everything with them so that they feel totally comfortable with the process. Because once you make the offer, hopefully it'll get accepted or at least countered. And if we get there, then we'd be at contract, and then we have timelines that we have to follow. And so we want to go through all that with the person ahead of time so that they know what to expect.
So, okay, let's just play devil's advocate here. Counter. What happens during a counter?
Well, if the seller says, I like some aspects of your offer, but maybe not all of them, they might counter back and say, I need to close
later. I want more
later.
money.
Or, well, okay, I want more money. But there are a lot of different things that they might counter on, like the closing date.
Right.
Okay. So, what happens when you're in that multiple bid situation? How do you prepare a client for, you got 5 offers coming in? how do you strengthen your offer? How do you make your offer stronger? How do you make your offer stand out? I mean, how do you get your offer accepted when you have multiple deals on the table?
Well, if you have cash and you can make a really high offer, that's a good starting point. But but most of us can't do that.
No.
So there are other factors that you can write in there that might be attractive to the seller.
Like paying your own closing cost, that would be, because if you're adding in the closing cost that you want the seller to pay on your behalf, then that's more added in that it would need to appraise for.
Right.
And you look more solid, honestly, if you have all your closing costs on your own, as well as your down payment to purchase. That's a pretty solid buyer.